Hello everyone and welcome to my September TBR. So I just released, day before yesterday, when you're watching this, my seasonal TBR. So I'm going to try to pull as many books from that video into this video as I can. And obviously if I can't find any of those books to fit a prompt that comes up in this video, then I'll have to pull in another book. So as far as dice, I'm just going to do the black and the yellow, the same dice that I did in the previous TBR game. As far as my token I'm going to use, I want to use a pug this time. I have had these since, I don't even remember when I got these, gifted from my grandma. And I figure where it's fall, it's, you know, Halloween is coming up. It's my favorite holiday. So I'm going to use this little pug dressed up as a fairy. So, doing the costume vibes. So, let's go ahead and, so as a reminder, never any punishment. This is for not finishing a TBR, which I have never finished a TBR this year. So, there's that. I just use this as a pile of possibilities. I have been in and out of a slump, mostly slumpy than not. So, you know, it is what it is. Life just life sometimes. So as a reminder, I'm starting out with 5 rolls. Doubles adds not only an extra roll, but it also adds a punishment book. So it ends up adding 2 additional books. And then if I get a double, I'll switch to the challenge board. So who knows how many books I will end up with. And let's go ahead and figure out where I will be starting. Where is my, there we go. Okay, random. Oh, I don't have, that's right. Okay, just gotta go to Google here. Okay, random number generator. Okay, so I'm gonna change it to, from a maximum of 10 to a maximum of 30. All right. Starting on space number 28. Okay, space 28 is right here in game time. So, the pug is a little big, barely fits. But there he is. There she is. Whatever. Okay, let's go ahead and get into roll number 1. Okay, a 5 and a 3, so I am moving 8 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Halloween Party. Okay, so Halloween Party is to read a book that has 2 or more people on the cover. I'm going to go with the novella. I'm going with Damaged Goods by Talia Hibbert. This is book number 1. I don't know how well you're going to see that, but that is 1.5. There you go. In the Ravenwoods series. So, this one is a novella. It says, second chances shouldn't feel so sinful. Laura Brune's husband is a monster. Her diamond ring is a trap, and her pregnancy is the push she needs to finally escape. She runs away seeking safety and finds Samir Bianchi, however the heck you say it, her long-lost teenage sweetheart. With his kind eyes and dirty smile, Samir's still hot as hell, and he still treats Laura like a goddess, baby bump and all. The wild boy she spent one magical summer with is every inch a man, and he's more than ready to care for her tiny family. But Laura's been keeping a secret Samir might never forgive. When she finally confesses, will he remain by her side, or is the fairy tale ending too good to be true? All right, let's roll for prompt number 2. Okay, moving 5 spots with the 3 and the 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That one is Grateful For. Grateful For. This is to find a book that will fit with a random picture generator. So, I'm pulling up, let's see, I can get rid of that. Okay, my random generators, okay, random picture is this one right here. And that, okay, it says Britain, USA, so maybe I'll just read something that takes place in the United States. That's the one thing. I mean, it's like a water tower that's leaning, so I could do something with water, but I think I'll just stick with something in the United States. So for a set, for this random picture, again, I'm going with something that's set in the United States. It has a field. This state I've never been to, but most states you can drive by areas that it's just fields of grass. And again, this is set in the United States. This takes place in Idaho. And I'm going with 7 Secret Spellcasters by Lynn Cahoon. This is book number 7 in a Kitchen Witch mystery series. We are following Mia Malone as she is opening her own catering business in an abandoned school in a small town in Idaho. She has magical abilities. She is talking to her grandma, who is also magical. She's like the family witch. And so she is, as the story goes on, there's more and more talk about Mia learning more about her witchcraft that she is coming into, as well as the grimoire. There's a kitchen witch or a kitchen spirit guide, things like that. Mia has a roommate whose name is Christina, and Christina is on the autism spectrum. And it's a cozy mystery. A dead body is found, and in this case, Mia inserts herself into the investigation to try to figure out what's going on. So that is 7 Secret Spellcasters. It looks like there's a dragon on the cover of this one. So it looks like we're getting a dragon in this. So I'm excited for that. All right, rolling for prompt number 3. And we've got a double. So instead of 5 rolls, it'll be 6. All right, so we need to switch to the challenge board. Okay, so on the fall board, I ended on space number 11. So that's where we'll be taking off with the roll of 10. So the 2 5s. So, and this one, instead of going down and then down, this one goes left to right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Screen time. Screen time. This is a BookTube TBR game. I think I got, was it 3 or 4 out of my fall TBR? We're doing another one. All right. And just as a reminder, these will go into a little cup or something off to the side so that they don't come up until this whole jar has been emptied. And I've still got quite a bit of people in here. Okay, let's look at this one. Okay, Kirsten from Reading Nymph. When was her last game? I don't remember. I love Kirsten's game. I really do. It's one of my favorite ones to watch. I mean, there's a lot of them I love to watch, but I really like Kirsten. So, Reading Nymph. Let's go down. Oh, I'm in the T's. I missed it. Here we go. Reading Nymph. So, just as a reminder, I will list not only Kirsten's channel, the Reading Nymph, in the description box. I'm also going to link the video that I used to come up with this next grouping of books so that you can go and see Kirsten's reaction to these prompts as well as what books she picked for these prompts. Okay. Book haul, 24 hours, silly bookish, spinner wheel series, reading first, do I like, it's popular final BOTB. Okay. Battle of the Booktuber Fantasy. Here we go. August TBR game. Okay, so I will watch that, and once I have all the prompts and the books, I will come back and let you know. Okay, now correction right away. I was saying Kirsten, it's Kirsten. I do apologize. Yes, I said it wrong. So, the prompt number 1 that Kirsten got was a new to me author, and I'm going to go with Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. I keep getting drawn to this, but I keep running out of time. And then there are other books I go, oh, I want to read this one more. So I still really, really, really want to read this one. So Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. I've heard that this is a cozy fantasy. So yeah, so pretty low stakes. It says, after a lifetime of bounties and bloodshed, Viv is hanging up her sword for the last time. The battle-weary orc aims to start fresh, opening the first ever coffee shop in the city of Thune. But rivals old and new stand in the way of success, not to mention the fact that no one has the faintest idea what coffee actually is. If Viv wants to put the blade behind her and make her plans a reality, she won't be able to go it alone. But the true rewards of the uncharted path are the travelers you meet along the way. And whether drawn together by ancient magic, a flaky pastry, or a freshly brewed cup, they may become partners, family, and something deeper than she ever could have dreamed. And yes, and this was on my summer TBR, and I will be reading the synopsises again in this video, because some people don't watch every single video, so that's why I'm reading the synopsis in here as well. All right, prompt number 2 that Kirsten got was a mystery. So I'm going to go with a cozy mystery, and it's a Golden Girls cozy mystery. Murder by Cheesecake by Rachel Ekstrom Courage. It says, things are heating up, and it's not just one of Blanche's hot flashes. Well, with Rose hosting her cousin's wedding in Miami, if she can't pull off the traditional St. Olaf wedding customs, her hometown may never accept her cousin back again. Wanting a witty conversationalist for the sure-to-be strange event, Dorothy tries this newfangled VHS dating service she's heard all about. Unfortunately, what appeared to be the ideal man on tape turns out to be a jerk in real life. So this sounds like it's also going to be a historical fiction because it's this newfangled VHS tape. So I'm thinking 80s maybe. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember when VHS tapes started, but I mean, I grew up on VHS tapes, so it was definitely before I was born, I would imagine. Anyway, okay, continuing on. Set to enjoy the wedding in the company of Sophia, Blanche, and whomever Blanche targets with her feminine wiles, Dorothy pitches in to help the increasingly frantic Rose plan the events. Despite tensions between the two wedding families and certain St. Olifians' mistrust of the big city, the opening tea is going perfectly, not a herring out of place. That is, until Dorothy's date is found dead, face planted in an otherwise scrumptious-looking cheesecake. That's such a waste of a cheesecake. Okay. With every guest a suspect and a marriage on the line, it's up to the Golden Girls to sleuth out the real killer and ensure love, humor, and friendship win the day. Murder by Cheesecake. Okay, so this next third prompt is color wheel. So, I have a random color generator. I'm going to delete that. And let's do a Google. Color wheel. Let's try random. Oh, what did I do? Okay. Here we go, I think. Yes. Okay. So, stupid ads. No. What? Go back. It took me to Temu. Close. Come on. Okay. I think I finally got it. Let me try to turn my sound on. Okay. Cover that is light blue. Or has light blue. Okay. Okay, so for light blue, I'm going to go with this novella. I'm going to go with Christmas on the 13th Floor. There are various shades, and I think specifically up in here it has plenty of light blue. So this is what I'm going to go with. There is no synopsis. This is a special edition from the Bright Side Candles. The quote on the back says, "You're a mean one, Mr. Chen." So all I know is looks like it will take place on the 13th floor of a building, and it's a Christmas. And this is by Jacquot. I am guessing how to say that. I could be saying it wrong this entire time, but this will be going on to my September TBR. Okay, the next prompt is a book with a bright cover. So I'm kind of torn between rereading Twilight or Hide by Kirsten White. You know what, my eye is drawn to this one, and white is rather bright. That's why there's such a thing as snow blindness. When you live in a state that gets a lot of snow, you got to be careful with that. So I'm going to go with this one. So Twilight. It's a young adult vampire romance between a male vampire and a human female. So this was published in the early 2000s, I want to say. So I know there's going to be 2005. So I've heard there's a lot of issues with it. I have read it. It's fun. But yeah, so I'm going to go with this one. So Twilight by Stephenie Meyer. Next up is dark cover. So so far I've been able to pull stuff from my fall TBR, which is really good. And especially where September has the magical readathon. Amy from A-Star Reads has put out, about four prompts for viewer prompts, and there are prompts that she'll try to read as well. And plus there's a new season-a-thon, so there's a couple of readathons I really want to focus on, plus the Tales from Two Trails, the quest. So there's at least 3 readathons I want to focus on in September. So the more I can get on that's thin, the better. So I'm going to go with Bottled by Stephenie Ellis. Tarantula there, which I don't like that, but it kind of blends in and makes me think of like it's just a bush or a thing of ivy. The house was his, an unwanted and unwelcome inheritance. As a child, Tyler Vertram spent many miserable hours beneath its roof, hating his grandfather and the man's housekeeper, Mrs. Waits. His only escape during those visits had been via the impossible bottles created by his granddad. Bottles holding miniature worlds in which he could lose himself for hours. Sometimes, however, he sensed something else living in the house, and in the bottles. Okay. When he returned home, he took the nightmares with him. Now an adult, Tyler decides one last visit can do no harm. Allow him to finally shake off his nightmares. The bottles, however, are waiting, and so is Mrs. Waits. As both house and bottles gradually yield up their secrets, it's made clear to Tyler what is expected of him and what will happen should he fail. Is Tyler master or servant of the house? Chapter headings have beetles, so I don't know what's going to come into play there. And this is 137 pages, so I'm getting on short as I can. Okay, so the final official roll, although we have to add another one because of chaos and it being a duplicate color in Kirsten's game, is Anything. I'm getting on another short book. Might as well get on a classic because I just don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to put The Pearl by John Steinbeck. I have no idea what this is about, so I guess I'll find out when I read it. I really know nothing. I do know there's pictures in this one. So there's a drawing there. And I'll show you another drawing. So yeah, The Pearl. Okay, and the last prompt on Kirsten's game is a book with foil on the cover. I'm going to go with Unhinged Cain. So this, you can kind of see it, like especially right there. That is foil. Foil there on the back. And And even under the dust jacket, you can really see that. So it's like a holographic, that's the only word that comes to my mind, foil. So this is Unhinged Cain by Brooklyn Cross. Now I did not read the synopsis in the last one. I will read the synopsis here because I do know it's a dark romance, and with the last video, I was getting kind of burnt out with rolling. It was also very late at night, so. All right, this one says, I knew what my calling in life was at a young age. I was the embodiment of death. The scent of blood and watching the life fade from something's eyes was more delicious than any dessert. With my twin, Abel, by my side, we reveled in the pain of others and the knowledge that we were above it all. Not even the FBI could hunt us down. The one thing I hadn't accounted for was Kirby and the unusual spark of emotion she created. Being a psychopath, I knew my range of emotions had always been limited. Things like love, regret, and empathy eluded me, yet I couldn't stop stalking the woman that had piqued my interest. But all decisions had consequences, and hunting Kirby wouldn't just test my own rules. It would pull on the one bond I had, and Kirby was the hammer that might cause mine to splinter. Okay, now I believe we're switching to Kirby's perspective in this synopsis. It says, to the outside world, I had a life that most would say was privileged, but to me, it felt like the walls were caving in and trying to crush me with their rules of conformity. Little did I know that my life was about to change forever. One drive was all it took. One decision to turn down a wrong road led to one heated glance that would catch the interest of the most notorious serial killer the FBI had ever chased. Once I was in his grasp, my world turned on its axis, leaving me breathless and desiring things I could never have imagined. My mind became a war ground between my conscience and my growing passion for a man my heart should never want. Would I be able to love him regardless of what he was, or would I end up on the wrong side of his blade? So, Unhinged Cain by Brooklyn Cross. Okay, so because I got a double, I now have to do a punishment card. So I'm giving these a shuffle. Okay. Let's go kind of in the middle. We're going to go with this one. Choose the smallest book on your shelf. Okay, I know what I can grab for this one. Okay, so the smallest book that I have right now is Kissing My Coworker by Jay Sterling. Jay Sterling's making another appearance in this video. I've had a crush on my coworker, Declan, since the day I started working at Rockline Studios. Trust me, if you could see this man, you'd have a crush on him too. It's been 2 years since my first day of work. 2 years since my head has been filled with fantasies and daydreams about the things I could do to him. 2 years of sitting by and doing nothing, because dating within the office is forbidden, frowned upon, something we're not supposed to do. The night of Rockland's infamous New Year's Eve party changes everything. Will my New Year's wish finally come true? All right, time for roll number 4. Okay, and it's another double, so we are now up to 7 rolls. So that's a 3 and a 3, so 6 spots. I am going to switch back to the fall board and ended on space number 21. Fall board and space number 21. Now let's move the 6 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Falling leaves. Okay, so you get a polytail there. And there. Okay, so for this one, Falling Leaves, it's to read a book that has a plant or multiple plants on the cover. I'm going to go with the Baby Dragon Cafe. This is written by A.T. Qureshi. I'm not sure how to say that. Oh, don't knock that down, baby. So as you can see, there are plants here, and then there's plants there under the windows. Definitely counts. I think this book looks really cute. It says, welcome to the cutest and most complicated cafe in town. When Saphria opens her cafe for customers with pet baby dragons, she isn't expecting it to be quite so hard. To keep the fires burning, her young dragon patrons keep incinerating the furniture, which means selling coffee isn't covering her costs. Local heartthrob Aiden is a gardener, though his disobedient baby dragon is a major distraction from his beloved plants. However, Saphrina's cafe gives him an idea. He'll ask Saphrina to train his dragon and pay her enough to keep the cafe afloat. They know they're the answer to each other's problems, but happy-go-lucky Saphrina and gorgeous but grumpy Aiden couldn't be more different. So if you like Grumpy Sunshine, this will have the Grumpy Sunshine. Can they find a way to work together and maybe even ignite some fire of their own? All right, got to get my TBR cards for the punishment of getting a double. Okay, let's go closer to the top. Let's go right here. Oh, I'm dropping. I'm just going to set those off to the side so you know I'm not swapping things. Oh, choose the longest book on your TBR. There are two big books that I have, and I'm just going to go with one of these two books. And I have Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff. This is looking like this is going to be the biggest one. This is 733 pages, it looks like. Nope, 34. 734 pages. Okay. The next big one I have is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. Oh yeah, 500. I'm on page 565, 600, 17, 21. There's the acknowledgement, 623. So, Empire of the Vampire, it is. Okay, I didn't read the synopsis of this one either. It does give me Anne Rice vibes, but more modernized, because the vampire is telling his life story. So I will read the synopsis in this video. It says, it has been 27 long years since the last sunrise. For nearly 3 decades, vampires have waged war against humanity, building their eternal empire even as they tear down our own. Now, only a few tiny sparks of light endure in a sea of darkness. Gabriel de Leon is a silver saint, a member of a holy brotherhood dedicated to defending realm and church from the creatures of the night. What are you doing, baby? Oh, okay. Let's see. But even the Silver Order could not stem the tide once daylight failed us, and now only Gabriel remains. Imprisoned by the very monsters he vowed to destroy, the last Silver Saint is forced to tell his story. A story of legendary battles and forbidden love, of faith lost and friendships won, of the wars of the blood and forever king, and the quest for humanity's last remaining hope. So, Empire of the Vampire. So it's that he's telling his story. This is a starting of new series, but yeah, sitting telling his story is what's giving me the Anne Rice vibes. Okay, we got a Polly Tushy here. All right, roll number 5. Okay, moving 5 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This one is study time. Okay, so study time is to read a book that you can learn something from. My mind goes to nonfiction. So I'm going to do a true crime book. This is True Crime Case History, volumes 1, 2, and 3 by Jason Neal. It says there are 32 disturbing true crime stories. So I can definitely learn some stuff in this one. Some of the true crime stories we have in volume 1, Mary Bell and Dr. John Schneeberger? I don't know, whatever. Okay. Volume 2, and then there's more. There's a total of 8 cases in volume 1. Volume 2 has 13, or does it go into the next page? Yes, 13. So we have like The Girl in the Box, The Green Chain Killer, and The Murder of Nicole Leaguer as some examples. And then volume 3 also has 13, although it looks like one is an appendix, so I'm not quite sure. It could be 12, maybe 13. We have The Canal Killer, The Head in the Bucket, and The Tacoma Murders as some examples. So can I learn something from this? Oh, I'm definitely sure I can, especially with it being nonfiction. Alrighty, we are on roll number 6. 6. Okay, I think we got a 5 on roll 5, and now we have a 6 for roll 6. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Scary movie. Scary movie. TBR game. So let's see who I will be basing this next grouping of books off of. We'll go with this one. Nat Cat's Bookish Cafe. Okay, let me take a look. This is for Natalie, so Nat Cat's Bookish Cafe. And as of filming this video, her September TBR is out as of 5 hours ago. I'm filming this on August 29th. So I'm going to watch I haven't obviously seen it if it just came out 5 hours ago. So I have not seen this video yet. So I'm going to watch the September round of her TBR game, and then I will come back with the prompts and the books. Okay, so roll number 1 that Natalie got was a fantasy, and this is to read a seasonal read. So fantasy. Yes, fantasy. Natalie said that as much as we want to say it's the fall, it's still the summer until the end of September. So I'm going with what Natalie said, with it being summer. So I did a Google search because I don't know, unless it specifically states during the summer season, or whatever months the book is set in. I don't know. So I did a Google search for fantasy books set in summer, and Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros came up. So I'm going with book number 2 in that series. So this is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. Let's see. So we're following by, and I really don't want to read the synopsis of this one, but I will say this. We're continuing to follow, it looks like, a character from the first book. I'm not going to say who. And there were some secrets at the end of the first book that were revealed, so I think we're going to learn more about those secrets that were being revealed. Things that you thought were true were not, and were not true were true type of a situation, so this chunker is going on. So I've got 2 chunkers on my September TBR. Okay, prompt number 2 is to read a contemporary or literary fiction that has a verb in the title. So, for those of you who are not very strong at English, like myself, I had to look it up. So, it says, a verb is a word that describes an action, an occurrence, or a state of being. So an action verb would be jumped, listened, sang, thinking, drove, traveling. That's an action. Occurrence verbs, develop, happen, become. State of being verbs would be, exist, have, and were. So those are some examples. So I'm going with the Traveling Cat Chronicles by Hiro Arikawa. It says, it's not the journey that counts, but who is at your side. Nana is on a road trip, but he is not sure where to. All that matters is that he can sit beside his beloved Satoru in the front of his silver van. Satoru is keen to visit 3 old friends from his youth, though Nana doesn't know why, and Satoru won't say. It says that this is set against the backdrop of Japan's changing seasons and narrated with a rare gentleness and striking humor. Nana's story explores the wonder and thrill of life's unexpected detours. So, and I believe Nana is the cat, so we're following this from the cat's perspective. So, okay, this next prompt, I need my phone for. It is a fantasy, so I do need to read another fantasy, and it's an emoji pick. So I'm going up to my random generators, and I do have a random emoji generator. It is right here. I know it's hard to see right now. Is this gonna focus? Maybe it'll focus once I pull it up. You get my head behind. Pull it back. There we go. So, yeah, let's. Okay, that is the result. Now you can't see it, but so hard eyes. So it was the smiling face with hearts for eyes. I'm going to go with House of the Beast by Michelle Wong. This is a fantasy with the romance. It is also tagged as romantasy and gothic horror fantasy romance. So someone's going to love someone. There's going to be lust in their eyes, or they're going to be making goo-goo eyes at each other. Something like that. So I'm going to say this one will count. So this is by Michelle Wong. So again, House of the Beast. It says, Alma would not have chosen the beast, but when her mother falls ill, she is not left with the luxury of choices. After all, luxury was never something they could afford. Forced into a desperate bargain with her estranged father and his house, one of the noble families that serve the gods and wield their powers, she irrevocably binds herself to the dread beast, the most fearsome of the gods. However, it is a vow made in vain when death comes for her mother anyway. Now vengeance is Alma's sole aim, and she has a god on her side, a beautiful eldritch monster with starlit hair. The beast has chosen her. Okay, so this next prompt is another contemporary or literary fiction, but it needs to have a paranormal aspect. So I'm going with this one because it's a contemporary setting. It's like our world, except it's paranormal because there are werewolves or wolf shifters and vampires. I'm going with book number 2 in the Twilight series. I'm going with New Moon by Stephenie Meyer. So, that's the only one that I could think of. Okay, next up is to read a horror, thriller, or mystery that has a non-human protagonist. I'm going to go with The Library at Hellbore by Cassandra Khaw. And you'll see why I say this is a non-human protagonist. It says, the Hellbore Technical Institute for the Gifted is the premier academy for the dangerously powerful, the Antichrists and Death Workers, the World Eaters and Apocalypse Makers. Hence, non-human. Okay. Hellbore promises redemption, acceptance, and a normal life after graduation. At least, that's what Alessa Lee is told after she's kidnapped and forcibly enrolled. But the Institute is more than just a haven for monsters. On graduation day, the faculty embark on a ravenous rampage, feasting on their students. Trapped in the school's cavernous library, Alessa and the surviving classmates must do something they were never taught: work together. If they don't, the school will eat them alive. Okay, next up is to read a fantasy that matches my outfit. So I have this kind of cream-colored shirt, but it's got plants all down it. So I'm just going with a fantasy that has plants on the cover. This one, I've been wanting to reread this series. This author is very unliked right now at the moment, so just please be aware of that. This author has views and is very pushy when it comes to their anti-trans and homophobic rhetoric. I don't like that, but I love this series. So I'm going to read the first in the Harry Potter series. This is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. There's like a pumpkin down here. There's some kind of berry there. But down here where the golden trio is, there's plants along there. So that's what I'm going with. And it's a magical world set in a school. Boy was raised and is neglected and abused by his family that he has to live with due to death of parents, and goes to a school where he finally feels like he's fitting in. Still gets bullied, but yeah, so I'm going to try to read that one. Okay, next up is a fantasy that is a mood read. I really want to get to this one. This is a LGBT fantasy romance or romantasy. This is This Princess Kills Monsters by Rai Herman. It says, Melliot is sick of being ordered to go on dangerous quests by her domineering stepmother, especially since she always winds up needing to be rescued by her more magically talented stepsisters. And now she's been commanded to marry a king she's never met. When hideous spider wolves attack on the journey to meet her husband-to-be, she is once again rescued, but this time by 12 eerily similar-looking masked huntsmen. Soon she has to contend with near constant attempts on her life. Okay. A talking lion that sets bewildering gender tests, and a king who can't recognize his true love when she puts on a pair of trousers. And all the while, she has to fight her growing attraction to not only one of the huntsmen, but also her fiancé's extremely attractive sister. If Melliot can't unravel the mysteries and rescue herself from peril, kingdoms will fall. Or worse, she could end up married to someone she doesn't love. This sounds really good, and I'm excited for this one. Okay, prompt number 8. She's got a total of 10 rolls. Prompt number 8 is to read a sci-fi that is one of the lowest rated on your Goodreads. I'm going to go with this one. This is the read selection for Autism Reads for the month of September. This is tagged as a sci-fi. So according to Goodreads, this is a middle grade. The primary tag is science fiction, and then it's realistic fiction. So, sci-fi. And this is written by Mike Jung. It says, the next person who compares Chloe Cho with famous violinist Abigail Yang is going to hear it. Chloe has just about had it with people not knowing the difference between someone who's Chinese, Japanese, or Korean. She's had it with people thinking that everything she does well, getting good grades, winning first in her chair in the orchestra, etc., is because she's Asian. Of course, her own parents don't want to have anything to do with her Korean background. Anytime Chloe asks them a question, they change the subject. They seem perfectly happy to be the only Asian family in town. It's only when Chloe's with her best friend, Shelley, that she doesn't feel like a total alien. Then, a new teacher comes to town, Miss Lee. She's Korean American, and for the first time, Chloe has a person to talk to who seems to understand completely. For Miss Lee's class, Chloe finally gets to explore her family history, but what she unearths is light years away from what she expected. So I think because light years is mentioned, plus it's tagged as sci-fi, yeah. So when I look at this, this has a 3.51 rating on Goodreads. So this is what I'm going to go with, and that 3.51 is out of 903 ratings. So there's not like there's a ton of ratings. So, but yeah, I'm going to get this on while I can. Next up is to read a fantasy with a trans character or by a trans author. So I have Kindle Unlimited, even though I don't read my ebook very often, but I still have that. And guess what's on Kindle Unlimited that I've been wanting to read? And that's Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. So I'll insert an image here. So I'm going to go with that. It does say, when I look at the author bio, it does state that it says Aiden Thomas is a queer trans Latinx. As a queer trans Latinx, Aiden advocates strongly for diverse representation in all media. So there's confirmation that the author is trans, and the synopsis reads, so I'll read this on my Kindle. Yadriel has summoned a ghost, and now he can't get rid of him. When his traditional Latinx family has problems accepting his gender, Yadriel becomes determined to prove himself a real brujo. So is this transgender rep? I think I've heard that, but I'm not positive. I don't know, maybe non-binary. I don't know what the rep is inside here. With the help of his cousin and best friend Maritza, he performs the ritual himself and then sets out to find the ghost of his murdered cousin and set it free. However, the ghost he summons is actually Julian Diaz, the school's resident bad boy, and Julian is not about to go quietly into death. He's determined to find out what happened and tie up some loose ends before he leaves. Left with no choice, Yadriel agrees to help Julian so that they can both get what they want. But the longer Yadriel spends with Julian, the less he wants to let him leave. Let's see. It just, for the tags, fantasy, young adult, LGBT, romance, queer, it doesn't say if it's trans. So I don't know if it's trans, non-binary, gender questioning. I don't know any of that aspect. But I've got that on my TBR, so I'll read that on my ebook. All right, the last prompt that Natalie got is to read a fantasy, but to do a coin flip. So I have 2 books here. One is a fantasy horror, and I'm pretty sure this other one's just a straight up fantasy. Let me double check. Yeah, it's a cozy fantasy is the other tag. So let me pull up a random, let's see, a coin flip. And that's what I want. Coin flip. Okay. Oh, stay signed out. Okay. So as you can see right now, it has a heads. Now, before I get into that, let me tell you about the 2 books. So if it stays on heads, I think I'm going to go with this one. This is the fantasy horror by Crystal Sutherland. It is the Invocations. It is tagged as fantasy horror. The reason why I say this is going to be go with the heads is because there's hands on there, H and H. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. If it's tails, I'm going to go with the Grimoire Grammar School Parent-Teacher Association by Caitlin Rozakis. Okay, so let's flip. I want it to focus. Oops. Okay. There it goes. Tails. Okay, so the Grimoire Grammar School Parent-Teacher Association by Caitlin Rozakis it is. It says, when Vivian's kindergartner, Aria, gets bitten by a werewolf, she is rapidly inducted into the hidden community of magical schools. Reeling from their sudden move, Vivian finds herself having to pick the right sacrificial dagger for Aria, keep stocked up on chew toys, and play PTA politics with sirens and chthonic nymphs and people who literally can set her hair on fire. As Vivian careens from hellhounds in the school corridors to demons at the talent show, she races to keep up with all the arcane secrets of her new society. Shops only accessible by magic portal, the brutal trials to enter high school, and the eternal inferno that is the parents' WhatsApp group. And looming over everything is a prophecy of doom that sounds suspiciously like it's about Aria. Vivian might be facing the end of days, just as soon as she can get her daughter dressed and out of the door. That sounds cute. Let's get into roll number 7. I don't think I had a punishment. No, I didn't have a punishment for number 6 because it was not a double. So hopefully this will be the last roll. So I got most of the books on this so far from my fall TBR, which is really good. We'll see what the Magical Readathon, the Seasonathon, and Tales from Two Trails, what I'm able to pull from here, or if I have to pull from another TBR, or like from my fall TBR, pull those in, or something completely different. But yeah, let's see if this will be the final roll for this game. All right, roll number 7. Whew, it is not a double, which means, especially since we are on the fantasy board, that is the last roll. So 4 and a 2, moving 6 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Black Friday. Okay, so this is the last roll for my September Cat-Walk TBR game. I need 21 books, I think I'm up to. No, 22. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, including the ebooks. So this is 24 books. No way am I getting to all 24 books, but that is okay. So Black Friday is to read a book that is less than or equal to 200 pages, so I can't go over 200. 201 does not count. So I am going with a J. Sterling book that is on my TBR. I'm just going with the next in the series, and this one is for February. Dumped for Valentine's. Heading off to Vale single and alone wasn't how I planned on spending the week before Valentine's Day, but here I am, in one of the most scenic places in the country, with nothing to do and no one to do it with. Until I meet Jace Malone. He's adventurous, charming, and sexy as hell. It was supposed to just be one night of letting go of the past and giving into the moment. But things never quite pan out the way you think, do they? So Dumped for Valentine's. And that is it. So those are all the books that I will try to prioritize for the month of September. Let me know if you've read any of these books or books from any of these authors, or what book are you wanting to prioritize for September. Are you participating in the Magical Readathon, the Seasonathon, or Tales from Two Trails? Go Team Asari. I need to submit my points for that. So, or my books for that. Anyway, yeah, definitely let me know your thoughts. And yeah, what are you planning on reading for September that you're excited to get to? Let me know. Talk to me in the comment section below. And until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book. And I will talk to you later.